Honesty. Honesty has to be the best policy. Unfortunately, like common sense, it's no longer common. But I want to be honest with you, because I made a video about the general product safety regulation that's coming into force on the 13th of December in the EU this year. But I made a mistake. Anyway, before I have this moment of openness, please boot me the But yes, I made a booby. I did. I was so down the old rabbit hole regarding Brexit, I didn't actually notice some key details in the literature I was reading, such as the PDFs provided by the European Commission regarding the General Product Regulation, or Safety Regulation. No. Also, when I was reading the European Commission about it as well, it didn't click in my head. Because I'm a bit of a simpleton, you see, I must be. I didn't click in my head that it applied to all sales in the EU. Even if you are a seller in the EU. But, and there is a but here, so I need to point out, Brexit has, well, it still plays a part. And Northern Ireland is still treated differently to the rest of Great Britain. But sellers in Great Britain who only sell in Great Britain, well, don't really affect them. In fact, they may argue that, it's a benefit of Brexit. Because they won't have to comply with this new rule. But no, don't mean to say it won't happen. Since Keir Starmer wants to have a closer relationship with the European Union, well, that'll be funny. This will be another thing that we'll have to roll over for. Same difference if you wanted to rejoin or join the European Union, we'd have to roll over for the General Product Safety Regulation. It's just, well, it's just fact. It's just counting. Now, where did I get it wrong? I got it wrong because I thought it applied purely really to Brexit and it was directly related to Brexit. And it kind of is, but it's not. Now, if you are a seller in Great Britain, selling to Great Britain, you haven't got to do this. But if you are a seller selling into Northern Ireland, yes, you've got to do this. Now, some of these rules are relatively old and quite frankly probably have been rolled over in the UK. At the end of the day, no one wants to have dangerous products. Toys and what have you, given to your children, and so they choke to death. When you thought you were only being nice, buying them that latest dolly with the eyeballs that fall out and they dangle and stuff. Yeah, a bit freaky if you ask me. But where it does affect Great Britain is sellers in Great Britain who want to sell to Northern Ireland. Because Northern Ireland has been treated as though it is in the EU regarding products. So anyway, I thought I'd just go over the actual PDF with you, just to show you each element of it. It's only 3 pages. It's not very long, and it's all bullet pointed, so it's easy. So there it is. Okay. So this is page 1 of the General Product Safety Regulation. And it's these bullet points I'm more interested in. These headlines: preserving a safety net for all non-food products and risks not covered in the EU product regulation. Now, apparently there's a cost associated with all this rubbish coming into the European Union that amounts to approximately 11.5 billion for unsafe products every single year, such as eyeballs and teddy bear eyes and stuff, dangerous stuff, toxic materials and all that sort of stuff. It's everywhere, like the black plastics and have been melted down from recycling, what have you, reprocessed into kids' toys and what have you, and they're full of chemicals. Applying the precautionary principle in product safety widely. Also, by businesses, precautionary measures should be considered when scientific evidence shows that stakes are high, even if human health hazard may be uncertain. So it's almost, I suppose, a bit like a risk assessment. Addressing the safety challenges associated with evolving technologies. So that's sort of future proofing it a little bit. Now, you could argue AI could come into that, couldn't you? You know, and other technological products could come into that. Protecting consumers when shopping online. Consumers are protected in the same way when they shop online or in a regular shop. It's established that specific product safety requirements for providers of online marketplaces. Now, one of the things that got me is that what if you sell second-hand products? Because this affects second-hand products as well. It's not just new products. It affects second-hand stuff. So say, for instance, you're seeking out, I don't know, a part for a car, for instance, and you use one of those online part searching things where you pay a fee for. And you find your part, but it's from abroad. Well, there's going to be a whole load of extra paperwork to go along with that, which is going to cause headaches for the seller. And they might say, well, we don't sell into the EU. So that is something that maybe might be good for the UK, but not necessarily for the EU or that UK-based, or it's not UK, sorry, that GB-based business. Vulnerabilities of certain categories of consumers, such as children, and addressing safety issues relating to food imitating and child appealing products. Maybe they should do some of these vapes, especially these Chinese vapes. I don't know if they've banned them yet or not. Improving product recalls by requiring direct contacts and standardized recall notices and ensuring that the consumers will receive an effective and timely and cost free remedy for the returned dangerous product. Now, I'll tell you what I can see happening. I can see that some manufacturers will just say, okay, then we're going to have a certain amount of returns, we will price it in, and not actually try and get their own money back from returns. They'll probably just sell it on, I don't know, a car boot or something. Because the cost of actually dealing with the actual manufacturers or the importers is just too high. And the only thing with these costs is they are going to be passed on to the customers in the EU. But also UK sellers wanting to sell to Northern Ireland. And Northern Ireland still gets a lot of their products and supplies from GB, Great Britain. A better level playing field for businesses, strengthening responsibility across the supply chain. Okay, let's be honest, we need to protect the seller not the seller, the buyer. I am a seller. But anyway, I'm trying to protect the buyer from unscrupulous sellers who are selling products that, quite frankly, either not fit for purpose or are dangerous, and weighing in on the fact that so many buyers can't be bothered to return items. It's just how it is with some of these companies. Now, okay, if you're shopping via Amazon and what have you, I have to admit their returns policy is very good. And it's very easy to send stuff back. And obviously, if it's dangerous, there's usually very little or no squabble whatsoever. But when you get eBay, for instance, with all its second-hand sales, and that's what the platform was, it's what it's built on, even though it's nearly all new stuff now. They'll have to somehow be able to get all this information. So it could undermine the eBay model in the EU, but also sellers who sell from Great Britain into the EU or Northern Ireland. And not be funny, that's quite a big business. There's a lot of people who are selling from GB into Northern Ireland, and many people in Northern Ireland get the bulk of their products and their supplies from GB, Great Britain. So they want to streamline the communication between businesses and authorities, and they've got a new system. There's systematic use of. There's the EU business or safety business gateway. I've had a look at it, and it didn't look that easy to me. But there again, I'm an idiot. But anyway, helping businesses and particular SMEs to comply with the safety product rules by providing hands-on guidelines. Yeah, we're going to be talking in the lines of an online page probably. That's not even really that helpful. You really need an actual, some kind of an actual real person. Would be quite nice, wouldn't it? And then we get to the enforcement. Now, stepping up enforcement powers for national authorities by providing them with the tools to perform market surveillance and better product and better protect the consumer. Thanks to the GPSR, national authorities will be able to do, for example, shopping undercover identity, or when no other solutions are found, they'll block the websites offering these so-called dangerous products. Addressing the use of the dangerous products. See, half the time these products might not even be dangerous. Just the fact that we just haven't got the information to say that they're not dangerous, or say that they are. You've got the manufacturers and all that sort of stuff online. Now the penalties are pretty serious, and they should really discourage businesses from not respecting their product safety obligations. Now many of these obligations have been about. I think the last time it was revamped was back in 2005. But this is just the latest iteration of the GPSR. And yeah, that was about in 2022 also. 67% of SafetyGate notifications concerning dangerous products coming from countries outside the EU single market. 68%. You know, how many of you have bought stuff from eBay or even Amazon? There's very little information. In fact, I had some cables coming through. It had nothing at all. All it was in a little cellophane Ziploc bag with a bit of printed stuff on it. No information about what it is. It's just about quality control and stuff. But now, if you were buying that in and you're going to resell it, or if you've got something you want to sell on eBay, it's going to be a flippin' nightmare. No one's going to bother. This is, in my mind, just going to end up increasing landfill. Do I think we need this regulation or this regulation? I do, but I think it's too over the top. We obviously need the regulation that was already there anyway, but I think it's over the top. As far as the EU is concerned, I think they've overdone this, overplayed their card on this one, because they're going to cripple so many very small businesses. Now, if they were providing a helping hand to help these people along to, find their way through all this stuff, maybe it's different, but it's just too many sellers, you see. And once sellers just take one look at this, I don't want nothing to do with it, and especially on second-hand goods. It's going to get really hard to sell stuff online in the EU or Northern Ireland. So it's not great. Now I'm saying it's just in the EU. Probably won't be long before it'll be in the United Kingdom as well. There is the system in place, but there's no real way of actually implementing it, to enforce it. And that's kind of the reason why they've done this here in the EU, to enforce it. Now, like I say, the Brexit will say, well, that's a good reason. That's why we left the European Union. You didn't even bloody well know. Don't give me that rubbish. You didn't know anything about the GPSR. No. They do like to jump on things like this, don't they? My point is that I made a bit of a mistake, and I just want to come clean, because I don't want to lie to you. I just don't. I've said a million times before, I won't lie to you. I might make mistakes, and if I think there's a bigger booby as this one, I'm obviously going to come clean, because it starts humbling on it, when you do things like that. It makes you feel maybe I've got a few morals. It makes you feel a bit better about yourself instead of going in your head and I made a bloody mistake. Oh, so what? Got a load of views, you know how it is. No. I made a boob, but it still affects the Great Britain. It still affects Northern Ireland, and that is the main point. Then it's going to affect like Shopify sellers, eBay sellers. The drop shipment's already pretty much buggered up in for UK sellers in on Amazon, pan-European models and what have you. You have to get VAT for every single country you want to sell to, But don't forget, if you want to sell into the EU now, you're still going to have to get yourself a representative, a trusted person who will have to be well, obviously a real person, but also there's no AI people. Okay, that's got to be a real person. That's probably have to be registered. They'll probably be selling it as a service. And there'll probably have to be insurance back because if there's a problem, there you have to follow it. You have to follow the to get to the responsibility. So if that trusted person is the responsible person in the EU, well, pretty much putting their head on the old chopping block, haven't they? Now I think this is going to really hamper choice for us in the EU, but also it's going to hamper choice for those in Northern Ireland who so apparently want to be a part of the United Kingdom, although that's dwindling fast. The solution here really is unification of Northern Ireland and Ireland, and obviously there's quite a few people who want that. Because this isn't working for Northern Ireland. Brexit is not working for Northern Ireland, and because of Northern Ireland, Brexit is, well, it's never going to work for Great Britain anyway, but it's even worse than it had to be. It's like we should say, okay, can we negotiate this with Northern Ireland and Ireland? Can we have a better deal between them two? I don't know. What say you? Leave it in the comments down below. Don't forget. So it's a bit crazy. It's if that wasn't bad enough, you still got this thing as well regarding the EORI numbers. Now the EORI numbers, if you importing stuff into the European Union from abroad, when you do all your export papers and what have you, you have to you have to comply with and apply actually to get yourself a EORI, an EORI number. And that's basically your import-export documentation. It's just something you're going to have to do. And yet again, you need to have, well, a representative, a trusted person in the EU. See, since we left the European Union, everything has become so much, well, more expensive, more complicated. Just a great big flipping hassle. So any economic operator with an establishment in the customs territory of the Union needs an EORI number. So if you're importing from outside into the EU, you're going to need that trusted person. Now, where they've simplified it, because this is complicated, where they've simplified it is on the online selling platforms such as eBay and what have you. They've obviously negotiated something, and it is simpler, but it's still ridiculously complicated, and some of this information isn't easy or readily available to sellers. It just makes everything just so difficult for people who sell cheap products and might have 20, 30,000 products on their website, on their product page, or on their eBay or Shopify. So where can I request an EORI number? Well, you've got to do it for all your customs authorities and what have you. And don't forget, you're going to also make sure you're going to have your VAT numbers if it applies to, well, you, as in what you're selling, what have you, and obviously levels. But yeah, it's just really complicated now. The selling to the European Union, it's not just the fish and the meat and stuff like that. You got to apply to sanitary certificates, and veterinarians are going to sign everything off, and you find that your consignment has cost you, well, it's just cost you like £600 to actually do all the paperwork and have you send it off. About 35 pieces of paperwork. It's just daft. And that's Brexit for you. Now, okay, the General Product Safety Regulation isn't just Brexit. It affects everybody in the EU, every seller in the EU, but it's not as complicated for us as it is for you if you sell to the EU. And that is because of Brexit. It really is, because you're a third country now. I'm sorry. But Little Britain is a third country. So anyway, I thought I'd just try and clarify that. I hope that was clear. You know what I'm like, though. But I just want to come clean because it's that is the moral thing to do, and I'd be uncomfortable about it. So in my previous video, which I might delete later on, I need to go through it actually first, but it's yeah, it basically it said that Brexit affected everything, but it didn't. It affected parts of it, but Brexit is still a factor. So people told me if Brexit's not a factor, it is a factor, because the factor is between well, Northern Ireland's very affected by it. So there you go. Anyway, please hit the old like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, you can do it on Patreon or buy us a coffee, and the links down below. But also, we have a rewarding project we're doing here in France. We've got memberships as well. But anyway, if you want to be part of a rewarding project, you can make a donation and we'll partner on your behalf, and I'll make a sign to go with your tree. Member of loved one, what have you, or maybe it's a, I don't know, present for Christmas, you know, whatever you like, really. Just let us know what you want. But also, I'm trying to think of things to give the members on the channel, and I got a couple of ideas. Where I was going to do the outtakes of the videos, so record the whole video with all my cock-ups, because I thought it'd be quite funny. Because I do cock-up. Well, this is a different sort of cock-up, but it's still a cock-up. You know what I mean? But anyway, if you have any ideas, please leave it in the comments down below. But please give us your thoughts on this. Are you a seller who wants to sell into the EU, or maybe you have been sent to the EU and this is petrifying you? You think, how am I going to deal with this? Because, not be funny, I think I'd give up, quite frankly. I don't think I could be bothered with it. It just sounds like too much flipping aggravation, especially for imported items, or if there's bits you use that are imported. For me, most of my stuff is wood. This is made out of wood. But if I'm going to be actually adding stuff that's come from China, for instance, I'd have to list those, such as those little thermometers. So I won't be doing that anymore, I don't think, once this comes into play. Anyway, you tell me. Please leave it in the comments down below. Toodaloo.